Hello guys, welcome to today's video. I want you to subscribe to this channel. As you all know, the name of this channel is Our World and Our People. Today I'm going to share with you some important things that you should know about this world. If you are interested in knowing things about this world and about the different people, wonderful people in Africa, in America, in Europe, in any part of this world, then I will ask you to consider subscribing to this channel. And you will surely learn a lot. In today's channel, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about um, objects in the sky. Okay, objects in the sky during the day and night. Some object that you can identify in the sky during the day and night. Okay, so one thing you have to understand is that the sky is clear and visible during the day. So the sky is clear and visible during the day, and the sun appears in the sky during the daytime. The presence of the sun in the sky is to provide warmth and light. So, as you all know, the reason why the sun is up there is that it will provide us with light and warmth. Okay, so the light is what enables us to see or view objects around us, and we also need warmth. Okay, so in the night the sun sets, and when it sets, darkness sets in. So the sun will set and darkness will set in. This becomes very difficult for us to see the environment, and as we all know, the environment refers to the things around us. So when it is dark, we all know that we find it difficult to see certain things around. This is where but when we are able to get an artificial light, then that means it will be possible for us to see certain things around us. And the moon and the stars appears in the sky during the night time. So during the night time, the moon and the stars, these objects appears in the sky during the night time. I've already told you what do appear in the sky during the daytime. That one is the sun. But at night, moon and the stars are the heavenly bodies that we usually see when we lift our eyes and we watch the sky. So now I want to talk about objects in the daytime sky. So what are some of the objects that we see in the daytime sky? Even though I've mentioned some of these objects, but I'm going to take my time to talk more about these objects. Okay, so during the daytime, you will normally see the sun. Sometimes you see the rainbow, you see the clouds. You also see raindrops, aeroplanes, and birds. Okay, so all these are some of the objects that we see during the daytime in the sky. Some of these objects are natural, some are artificial. And when we talk about natural, we know them to be the things that were made by God or they exist in nature. And artificial objects are those that were made by man. They are the things that didn't exist in nature but were made or manufactured by men. So for natural things, we have the sun. So the sun that we see outside there, is a natural heavenly body. We also have the clouds. Okay, clouds. It usually appear when it's about to rain. So moon is visible during daytime. It's not that visible. Okay, during daytime, but sometimes people are able to see it. Mhm. Now let's talk about some of the objects that appears in the sky at night. So during the night time, people are likely to see objects like the moon, stars, comets. We can also see some rain droplets. We can see aeroplanes, aeroplanes in certain parts of the world. They are able to see rockets and the like. So these are some of the objects that people are likely to see during the night time as I made mention of the in the daytime, we have natural objects and we have the artificial objects. Okay, so the same thing applies to the object that can be seen at night time. Some of these objects are natural, others too are what artificial. So the natural ones, examples are moon. I'm talking about the stars, comets, and artificial ones. We also mention plane. So plane is a heavenly body that a plane is an artificial object. So this was made by man. And people travel to other places with the plane. Yeah, so we want to look at the difference between the day and the night sky. So some of the differences that can be identified between the day sky and the night sky. Okay, what happens to the sky during the day and what happens to the sky during the night time. So the comets and stars are usually visible in the night sky only. Yeah, and the sun, birds, rainbow, and clouds, these are very, very clear or visible during the daytime only. Yeah, so the comets and stars are, like I said, they are visible in the night sky only. And as we go on, we will know more about these comets, meteors, talk about some of the heavenly bodies. So we will also mention satellites. We will talk about all these heavenly bodies. Yeah, and I'm sure that as the channels grows, I'll be able to make videos about how these comets appears, yeah, and how they appears like in the sky. Yeah, so I'm sure that very very soon we may go to the space. Yeah, once we get there, I'll make videos of all these heavenly bodies. Yeah, so we want to also look at some of the things, objects that are common to see during the daytime and the night time. So some of these objects are, you have raindrops and aeroplane. Okay, raindrops, aeroplane. Sometimes the moon can be seen during the daytime, but not as visible as it is during the night time. Yeah, so we want to look at what happens to the sky in a 24-hour cycle. Yeah, so you have to know that a day is made up of 24 hours, or 24 hours make one day. So when you have 24 hours, to give you what? One day. So have you observed that the sky becomes dark in the night and it is clear in the day during every 24 hours? I'm sure you've observed that the day and night follows each other in a cyclic movement. So that means when there is day, night will follow. Okay, after night, we also have day. So it follows that order. So day and night, day and night. That's why we say that they are in a cyclic um, order. Yeah, meaning it will continue to be this till the end of the world. Now we want to talk about the spinning of the earth. You have to know that the earth is spherical in shape. It's not circular. People used to say that the earth is round or circular. No, it's not that circular, but it is spherical in shape. The earth is spherical in shape. So as the earth, and you also have to understand that the earth also spins on its axis. So as it spins or it revolves on its axis, the part of the earth that faces the sun becomes day, and the other part of the earth that is away from the sun becomes night. Within every 24 hours, the sky becomes dark for 12 hours and clear for another 12 hours. Yeah, so um, I've said that the earth looks spherical, or it is spherical in shape. The part of the earth that faces the sun will experience day, and the other part of the earth that stays or moves away from the sun will experience night. So right now, I'm not using an artificial light in my room. I'm depending on the light from the sun. And the reason why I'm able to do this or experience this light is because we are in the daytime, but at night time you wouldn't be able to see me. And even during this time, we are heading towards night. This means the sun is setting very soon. Evening or night will set in. Yeah, so we want to look at some of the importance of the things in the sky. God is very, very wise. He's very, very wonderful that He has a reason for whatever thing He made or He positioned or He placed in the universe. So God has a reason why He placed certain objects in the universe. Yeah, so we want to look at the importance of the things in the sky. So for now, we are looking at the objects in the sky, the relevance of this object to us, or the relevance of this object to the entire universe or creation. So most of the things that we see in the sky, like the sun, the moon, the stars, comets, are called heavenly bodies. So all these are what? Heavenly bodies. And they are there to provide us with light, also provide warmth for the earth and the other planets. We have 8 planets. At first, we were told that the planets were 9 in number, but now they are 8. So it means that Pluto has been excluded from the list. And the reason why Pluto has been excluded is because it is the scientists are saying that it looks like a rock and it deviates from some of the characteristics from other planets. Yeah, and it is very, very slow. So because of this, it is considered, or people consider it as a dwarf planet. Yeah, so let's proceed. So they help us to see. So these heavenly bodies help us to see. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have comets, we have so many heavenly bodies. As we continue, we'll talk about other planets. But right now, we want to look at those that are very visibly seen in the sky. Their relevance to us. So we will take them one by one. The first object I will mention is the sun. So sun, I believe each and everyone watching this video have seen the sun before. Yeah, so the sun provides us with heat and light. So it provides heat and light to the earth. So like I said, the light that I'm using here is from the sun. I'm not using any artificial light. So this is one of the relevance of the sun. So it provides us with light. It also provides us with heat or warmth. It also helps us to get day and night. So because of the sun, we are able to get day. We are able to also get what? Night. So like I said, the part of the earth that faces the sun will experience day, and those that stays away from the sun are those that are positioned outside the sun or experience of the sun will have what? Night, or these people will be in the night time. The earth is held in its orbit by gravitational pull of the sun. So the reason why the earth and other planets they are held in their orbit is because of the gravitational pull of the sun. So it's like the sun, it pulls the planet, okay, so that they are able to move on their axis. So the reason why the sun, though is spherical, you wouldn't see it moving towards other places. Okay, it's because of the force from what? The sun. The sun has a force called gravitational force, which keeps all the objects in their axis, doesn't fall away. Yeah, so the sun also provides us with heat, and this heat to help us to dry our clothes. So during the daytime, see people washing their clothes and drying it under the sun. The reason is that the sun will aid drying. Okay, so it makes the object dry faster. At night, it is rare to see people drying their clothes or washing their clothes. It's not that common. So now that we've talked about the importance of the sun, I want us to go to that of the moon, the importance of the moon, the significance of the moon. So the moon gives light to the earth in the night by reflecting light from the sun. So the moon itself does not produce light. But what this moon does is that it reflects light from the sun. So at night, the reason why sometimes people or we are able to see some of the objects around us without the aid of other artificial objects is because of the light emanating from or reflected from the moon or reflected by the moon. So let's proceed. Yeah, so the moon also provide light, and this light is as a result of reflection of the reflection from the sun. Now we want to go to the stars. So the stars also give light to the earth in the night. Yeah, so during the night time, we see a lot of stars in the sky. Yeah, so uncountable. And a group of stars will give you galaxy. You have so many galaxy. So, but the one that we belong to is the Milky Way galaxy. So I want you to note this down, pen it down somewhere. Anytime they ask you which galaxy does this Earth belongs to, then you tell them the Milky Way galaxy. Then we want to talk about the comets. So comets help us to understand other heavenly bodies. So the comets will help you understand other heavenly bodies. Yeah, so this is a little thing I want you to understand about the objects that are usually found in the sky. So we've talked about these objects, what are visible or yeah, they are clear during the daytime, and those that can be seen clearly at night. We also talk about their importance. Okay, so we want to demonstrate the process of evaporation. We'll talk about evapotranspiration. The evapotranspiration comes from two words, evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation and transpiration. All these terms are used during water cycle. So when we talk about water cycle, how um, water moves or it moves across the earth. Sometimes water moves up into it moves up to the sky in the form of water vapor. It also fall back through a process called precipitation. Yeah, so we talk about all these things. So I want you to get all your things prepared because today you are going to learn a lot. Yeah, so when we breathe out or blow air, we release water vapor. So when we breathe out or blow air, we release water vapor. And you also remember water vapor is a component of the air. So water vapor also form part of the air. And as you know already, air is a mixture of gases. So air comprises of several gases. So you have oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and water vapor also form part of the air. So transparent materials capture water vapor when we blow air into their surface. So when you have a transparent um, material like the bottle, yeah, water bottle, this object carries water vapor. So human release water vapor into the atmosphere when they respire. So when we breathe out air, we release a lot of air, water vapor into the atmosphere. So this water vapor we release when we breathe out goes into the atmosphere. So when we release this water vapor during breathing, it goes into the atmosphere. Yeah, so right now I took in air and I blew it out. Okay, I blew it out or I breathed it out. So by doing that, I've released a lot of water vapor or some water vapor into the atmosphere. So both plants and human beings are living things. So they both breathe in air. So both plants and animals and human beings, we are living things and we breathe in air. Just as humans release water vapor when they respire, so do plants when they transpire. So over here, you are going to mention transpiration or transpire. Transpire or transpiration comes from the word transpire. So the water vapor on the plastic wrap is because transpiration is taking place in the plant. Yeah, so water vapor from plant goes into the atmosphere. So just as when we breathe out, water vapor goes into the atmosphere. Water vapor also comes from plants when they transpire or when they also give out air. We call that process transpiration. So now let's go to what evapotranspiration is. Remember that I've said that evapotranspiration is the combination of two keywords, evaporation and what? Transpiration. So it is not only water vapor from plants and human beings that goes into the atmosphere. You have to understand that it is not only water vapor from plants and animals that goes into the atmosphere. Evaporation also releases water vapor into the atmosphere. So when we talk about evaporation, let me come in or let me explain that one. So evaporation is the process whereby water turns into what? Gas, or when liquid changes into gas. So when you have water and you put it on fire, what happens is that the water will turn into water vapor. It will start producing vapor. We call that process evaporation. Okay, so evaporation is, and it doesn't happen during that process. When the heat from the sun hits most of the water bodies or on the surface of any water, it is able to turn that surface into gas. So we call that process evaporation. Yeah, so evaporation also release water vapor into the atmosphere. So when we talk about evapotranspiration, this is the definition. Evapotranspiration is the process by which water is transferred from the land to the atmosphere by evaporation from the soil and other surface and transpiration from plant. So evapotranspiration is the process by which water is transferred from the land to the atmosphere. So from the land to the atmosphere and other surfaces and transpiration from plants. So evapotranspiration comes from two keywords. So evaporation, where water comes from the land or water bodies into the atmosphere, that's evaporation. And transpiration, that's where water from plants also goes into the atmosphere. Yeah, so it is a combination of evaporation and transpiration process. Yeah, so that is evapotranspiration. Now, we want to talk about sources of water in the community. Sources of water in the community. So there are many sources of water in the community. Can you name them? I know you know some of them. Yeah, so we have rivers, we have ponds, we have streams, we have lakes, we have borehole, we have pipe-borne water, sea, spring, well, dam, rainfall. All these are sources of water. Or when we talk about source, it means where we get or where we can obtain water from. Yeah, so we need to treat them so that we do not get infected with waterborne diseases. You have to treat them so that you don't get infected with waterborne diseases. Yeah, so waterborne diseases are diseases we get from drinking or using contaminated water. Yeah, so like I said, we have lake. Lake is a source of water. Sea is a source of water. The pipe-borne water is also a source of water. Pond is a source of water. Well, river. All these are sources of water or places or where we obtain water from. Now, some of the water bodies are polluted. Others too are not polluted. Some are good, some are not good. So we want to look at characteristics of a good drinking water. Characteristics of a good drinking water. Yeah, so let's continue. Yeah, so good drinking water. So good drinking water has the following qualities. So good drinking water contains no dirty particles. Good drinking water, they contain no dirty particles. Okay, some of these particles can be dust, some of these particles can be germs. Okay, and so yeah, so the second point is a good drinking water has no taste. It means that it is tasteless. So good drinking water does not have any taste. If you have water that is giving a bad smell, then it means that the water doesn't fit to be called what a good drinking water. If you drink this water, you can fall sick. You are likely to get waterborne diseases. The good drinking water has no odor. So good drinking water is odorless. It has no odor or smell. A good drinking water has no color. So if the color of the water has changed to brown, it means that the water is not a good drinking water. It means that it is contaminated. It is not good for most of the domestic activities. Now we want to look at how we can make water safe for use. If you have a dirty water or an unclean water, how do you make it clean? How do you make it clean? Yeah, so how to make water safe for drinking or for use. So some of the source of water in our community are not safe to drink, and I've said that already. Water from rivers, ponds, well, and other sources may be smelly. Some smells, okay. Some are colored. Some contain dirty particles. We treat water to make them safe. So the reason why we treat this water is to make them safe to drink. Drinking unsafe water can make you fall sick. You can get a lot of diseases like cholera. You can suffer from diarrhea when you drink contaminated water or dirty water. Treating water help you kill germs and bacteria. So the reason why we should treat water is that by treating them, you kill germs and bacteria. These organisms have the capacity to cause diseases when they enter into your body or when they get into contact with your body. Treating water will remove odor. So when you treat water, it takes away odor, smell, because good water is odorless. Good water must not contain smell. By treating this water, you are sure of taking away what? Odor. Treating water will help you to remove dirty particles. Particles like sand, rotten animals or rotten particles, papers, and the like. When you treat water, it takes away all these particles from the the proper or the good water. Okay, so it will take it away from the water that you need, and by doing that, you can get a good water. Okay, so treating water help you to make water clean and clear. So some water, when you see them, the color is very bad. Some look brownish, some have different colors. But when you treat them, you're able to take away all these impurities from them. Yeah, so the quality of water differs from one source to another. So some water are more quality than others. Yeah, so pond water contains dirty particles than river waters. Pond waters, they contain dirty particles than river waters. River waters also contains dirty particles than well water. Well water also contains dirty waters than pipe water. And you can see that pipe water also contains dirty particles than rainwater, because you know that rainwater is the safest, though pipe water is also safe. Yeah, so pipe water is safe. Yeah, so water can be made safe for drinking through the following treatment. So by doing this, we can make poor water or bad water clean. So the first method is boiling. So water can be treated by boiling. So boiled water is safe to drink. Okay, so if you boil water, it will kill some of the germs present in the water. So that's the first method. The second method is adding alum. There are some chemicals that you measure them and put them in water, a source of water. So by adding alum into the water, you treat it, okay, and you make it safe. And so alum will cause some impurities or particles present in the water to settle down. So that is the use of or the importance of adding alum into water bodies. The second importance is adding chlorine. If the second or the sorry the third way we can treat water is chlorine. Yeah, so water can be treated by adding chlorine. So when you add chlorine into the water, you treat the water. Okay, so what does the chlorine does in the water? Chlorine will kill microorganisms present in the water body. Okay, so chlorine also makes water safe for drinking. Filtering the water. Water can be treated by filtering. Okay, that is where you get a sieve, a filter paper, or any material. You can use cloth, clean cloth, okay, or funnel to um, treat water using the filtration method. Yeah, so water can be treated by filtering. Filtered water is clean and can be used for domestic activities like washing and bathing. Boil filtered water before drinking. So before you filter water, you have to boil it before you drink them, because filtering them will separate some suspended particles or the other particles from entering into your water, but it doesn't prevent germs from entering into your water. So that's why you have to boil the water, because when you boil the water will kill all the microbes or microorganisms present in the water. Now we want to look at the next method, that's adding iodine tablets. So adding iodine tablets is also another way we can treat water. So water can be treated with iodine. So water can also be treated with iodine to make water safe to drink. Now I want to look at dangers of drinking unsafe water. So when you drink unsafe water, I know I've already mentioned some of the dangers that can occur to you or it may bring to you. Yeah, but now I'm going to look at some of the dangers. So untreated water is not safe to drink. So untreated water is not safe to drink. It may contain dirty particles. Untreated water may contain dirty particles and germs. Okay, so you may get worms in your stomach. So when you drink dirty water, you may get germs in your stomach. You can also get waterborne diseases if you drink water. If you drink water that is not safe, yeah, so you will fall sick. You invite a lot of worms into your stomach, and these worms will start feeding in your intestine. They will feed in your food. Some also can they will cause a lot of damages to your body, or they may harm you. Yeah, and it is mandatory for us to be taking a dewormer. Some people take it 3 months, 3 months, others to take it 6 months, 6 months. Yeah, so these dewormers help to prevent or they kill worms present in your stomach. Yeah, so drinking unsafe water can cause diseases such as cholera. So cholera is caused by a bacteria. Okay, it's caused by bacteria that are usually present in contaminated water and food. So this bacteria is called Vibrio cholerae. Drinking unsafe water can also cause typhoid. As you sometimes see someone complain of typhoid fever. So it could be that this person drank contaminated water, or the person ate contaminated food which contains Salmonella typhi, a bacteria called Salmonella typhi, and diarrhea. Yeah, so you start complaining of running stomach. Okay, you'll be passing a lot of watery stool, you'll be vomiting, losing a lot of water. Yeah, so this can happen because of you drinking unsafe water. And dysentery is also a disease that is also as a result of drinking unsafe water or eating contaminated food that contains the bacteria that causes this. Guinea worm, too. If you drink an unsafe water, guinea worm, you may suffer from guinea worm. Then you have stomach cramps. People complain about stomach cramps. This might be as a result of what? Taking um, unsafe water. Because when you're taking unsafe water, it affects you. It also serve as a breeding ground, or yeah, it may contain worms. These worms, when they get into your stomach, sometimes you start complaining about stomach pains and the like. So these are some of the diseases that when you drink contaminated water, you are likely to suffer from or get. And so we want to look at life cycle of organism. Yes, we are still talking about our world and our people. So now I want to talk about the life cycle of organism. The life cycle of organism. Now, so when we talk about organism, we have living organism. Yeah, basically they are living organism. We have living things and non-living things. Living things are things that have life in them. Living things are things that have life in them, but non-living things are things that do not have life in them. So living things are things that have life in them, but non-living things are things that do not have life in them. Yeah, so when we talk about living things, examples are human beings, animals, plants. So all these organisms are living things. They have life. They carry out life activities such as breathing, they grow, they move, yeah, they respire, they when you touch them, they feel them. Okay, they have stimuli or stimulus. Okay, they have feelings. So all these are characteristics of living things. Now, so let's proceed. So like I said earlier, we are going to talk about the life cycle of organism. Yeah, so life cycle of organism. We are going to take plants. We are going to take plant. Plants, you know it to be living thing that grow on the soil. Yeah, it grows in the soil. Okay, so they are living thing that grows in the soil. We want to look at the functions of the parts of the plant. So plant has parts like leaf, stem, root, branches. Yeah, and these parts also play major role. So we are going to take them one by one and talk about their function. So each part of the plant has a function or a role to play to maintain the life cycle of the plant. They function in different ways to keep the plant alive. So we are going to take them one by one. Yeah, so first, the first part of the plant that we are going to talk about is the roots. Okay, so functions of the roots. So the roots of a plant play a role in the life of the plant. So the functions of the roots are the roots support the plant to stand firmly upwards. So it supports the plant to stand firmly upwards. This means it gives anchor or anchorage to the plant. Okay, so the root it holds um, the plant firmly in the soil. The root also prevent plant from being blown away by the wind. So because of the roots, the wind cannot easily blow the plant away. So I believe um, you are getting to know about the importance of the root. When you are now seeing the relevance of the root. The hairs of the root absorb water and minerals from the soil. So the roots also absorb water and minerals from the soil. And these water and minerals are needed by the plants to carry out other important activities like the photosynthesis. So plants will, or the roots will absorb water from the plant. Now that we've learned about the functions of the roots, we want to go to the functions of the stem. Okay, so the stem is the part of the plant that usually is placed between the root and the the leaf or branches. Okay, yeah. So stem perform the following functions for the plant. Stem support the plant to stand upwards towards the sunlight. So the stem also it supports the plant to stand upwards towards the sunlight. The second function of the stem is that the stem carries nutrients and water from the root to other parts of the plant. Yeah, so the stem carries nutrients and water from the root to other parts of the plant. And the next one is that the stem carries food from leaves to other parts of the plant. The stem, it carries food from leaves to other parts of the plant. The stem also upholds the branches. So the stem, they upholds the branches. Yeah, so this is the function of the stem. Yeah, so let's go to the last one, which is the leaf. The leaf perform the following functions. So these are the function of the leaf. The first one is that they prepare food for the plant through a process called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is how plants manufacture their own food. They also contain pores that help in plant breathing. So there's a pore called stomata. They support plant breathing. The last one is that transpiration takes place through the leaf. It takes place through the leaf. Yeah, so I want you to continue to subscribe to this channel. And let's talk about flowers too. Yeah, flower too is also part of the um, plant. Yeah, we know flower to be the sexual part of the plant. So let's talk about the function of the flower. Yeah, so flowers are needed for reproduction. Flowers are needed for reproduction. Flowers use their color and smell to attract insects, and this will lead to a process called pollination. Yeah, so after pollination, then fertilization will follow. Yeah, so this is all for the function of living organisms. Okay, so now remember that I talked to you about pollination. Okay, and I said that after pollination, fertilization is going to take place. After fertilization, fruit and seed germination. And when fruit and seed germination occurs, it means that the next point is when fruit and seed formation happens, then there should be germination of seed. So let's talk about germination of seed. Okay, so seed needs moisture, air, and warmth to germinate. It needs this thing to germinate. But first of all, when we talk about germination of seed, germination is a process whereby viable seed start to develop into young plant or seedlings. So this is the definition of germination. So it's a process whereby viable seed start to develop into young plant or what? Seedlings. Yeah, so before a young plant or before a seed can develop into a young plant, there are some objects that it will need. So that's why I said seed needs moisture, water, and warmth to germinate. And seed have enough stored food to help it germinate without minerals from the soil. Yeah, so still on seed germination, I want you to understand that plant comes from seed. Plant, most of them comes from seed. This happens when the seed are planted in the ground or in the soil and sprout, meaning it will begin to grow. Before a seed can sprout or before it begins to grow, it must go through a process called germination. It must go through a process called germination. The process of germination happens inside the seed. The process of germination happens inside the seed. Seed can germinate with or without soil. So the seed can germinate with or without soil. Yeah, so I want to add something small. So if I'm going to summarize the process of germination, you have to understand that before a seed germinates, it goes through some processes. Before a seed will germinate or it will start to develop into a young plant, it has to go through some process. The first one is that the dry seed absorb water. So once the seed is placed into the ground, remember that I said that it needs there must be the presence of water. So it needs the dry seed absorbs water. The water absorbs seed so as to become bigger. So whilst the seed absorbs water, it becomes bigger. Okay. The coat of swollen or bigger seed ruptures. So as it becomes bigger, then starts the coat um start to rupture or breaks. Okay, the roots sprout out of the ruptured seed. So once it breaks, root will sprout out of the ruptured seed. Stem and leaf sprout out of the ruptured seed. So the root will first sprout out, and it will be followed by stem and leaves. So the stem and leaves and roots will elongate. So this is how it grows longer. Yeah, so this is how it grows longer. So this is a brief summary of the germination of fruits and seed. So remember that we were talking about the life cycle of living organism and we talked about plants. So the next living organisms we are going to talk about is the we human beings. Okay. So we want to talk about the human body system. The human body system. So do you know which parts of your body help you to run away from danger? Yeah. So most of the various parts of the body perform specific function. Most of them perform specific functions. They are called organs. Yeah, so the various organs, sorry, most of the various parts of the body perform specific function and they are called organs. Yeah, an organ is a part of the body that performs a special task. The eyes and ears are some of the organs of the body. Your teeth, your mouth, okay, your hand, all these are organs of the body. Yeah, so the various organs work independently to form systems. So systems are made up of groups of organs that work together to perform a special function. The digestive system is made up of various organs. Okay, so we're going to talk about the organs of the digestive system. So the digestive system is also made up of various organs. Okay, that work together to ensure that the food that you and me we eat is broken down and is absorbed into the body. The process of breaking down food and absorbing is by the body is called digestion. So when we talk about digestion, it's the process whereby food is broken down into smaller pieces and then it's absorbed by the body. So digestion starts from the mouth. So when you get some protein food like bread, yeah, etc., it digestion starts from your mouth. And so it starts from your mouth. So from your mouth, there is a tube here that connects your mouth to your stomach. That tube is called esophagus. Yeah, so from your esophagus, you go to stomach, so mouth, esophagus, then stomach. Then from your stomach, you go to your small intestine. From your small intestine, you move to large intestine. And from your large intestine, the food will pass through your rectum and then it will leave out your body through your anus. Mhm. Yeah, so this is just a brief description of the digestive system. Okay, so before I bring the digestive system to an end, I want to talk about the function of the part of the digestive system. Remember that when I was talking about the part of the plant, I talked about their functions too. So the same thing is going to be done to the parts, the organs of the digestive system. So function of the organs of the digestive system. We are going to talk about the mouth. So I am the mouth. I let you take in food and water. I contain the tank. So the mouth contains the tank. This is the tank. And the teeth. I let the teeth help you give food a bite, a good bite. So if you want to bite food, the teeth is the one you are going to do that. And the teeth is found in the mouth. So it also allows your teeth to chew and break your food into bits and pieces so that you do not get shook. So like I said, digestion starts with the mouth. Now let's go to the tank. Show me your tank. This is your tank. So my name is Tank. So the tank help you to chew and swallow food. I pass your food to esophagus. So your tank will pass your food to the esophagus. Esophagus, it lines between your mouth and the stomach. Now let's go to the esophagus. So I'm the long pipe between the mouth and your stomach. There's a long pipe between the mouth and the stomach. I do not think you know me. I am part of the digestive system and I transport food and water to your tiny stomach. So it is part of the digestive system and transport food and water to your tiny stomach. Now let's go to the stomach. Yeah, so stomach can be found inside here. So I am like a sack and muscular. I churn up your food. Does this by mixing and breaking it down. So to mix it and break it down. I pass your food to small intestine when I finish my work. So once it is done with its work, it will pass it to the small intestine. Yeah, so let's talk about the small intestine, the work of the small intestine. Yeah, so small intestine. So I am a long and thin winding tube. So it is strong and thin winding tube. It is here that your food is completely broken down into very tiny bits. So digestion completes there, or it ends there. Nutrients in your food are absorbed into your body from here. So it is in your small intestine that absorption of food takes place. The blood transports the nutrients around your body to give you energy. So once they are absorbed, from your small intestine into your blood. Your blood will transport it to all the parts of your body, starts giving your body or the other parts of your body energy to carry out other activities. I push everything left behind to the large intestine. So from the small intestine to push everything to the large intestine. Now let's talk about the large intestine. So it is a short and wide tube. It is here that water is absorbed into your body. So water is absorbed into your body in the large intestine. I pass on the waste to rectum. So absorption of water happens in the large intestine. So after that, the food that is not needed, waste food, will be passed into the um, rectum. Now let's talk about rectum. So my name is Rectum. So there's some small description about rectum. So it is the lower part of the large intestine, and over there it stores food temporarily. Feces. It stores feces. The rectum stores feces temporarily. That means it doesn't stays there forever. Yeah, so it gets there for a while, after which we defecate, or after which it will be taken away from your body through the anus. Okay, yeah, so that place is usually smelly. Yeah, it has a lot of smells because of the presence of the feces. Now, let's go to the last part, which is the anus. Okay, people also call it anus. Yeah, so have you heard anus before? Yeah, so it is the entrance at the end of your digestive system, and it lets feces out of your body. So that's where feces comes out of your body. Yeah, so we call it um, anus. Okay, so anus is also referred to as the exit of the digestive system. Yeah, so the waste products, your food substance that couldn't, which weren't able, how do I put it? The food substance that wasn't absorbed into your blood system will be allowed to come out of your body, and it does this through your anus. Okay, so we've talked about all these organs. So I believe you can explain to other people what the digestive system is, and you can also talk about the function of these parts. Yeah, so I will also talk about the solar system. So this could be the last thing I will talk about today. So we are done with the um, life cycle of living organisms. So we want to talk about solar system. It's also a system. Okay, so we've already learned something about the solar system and its importance. Okay, and I also talked about the moon, which orbits the earth. The same time the earth is orbiting the sun. And we learned that without the sun, there will be no living thing on earth, because the sun also supports life on earth. So now let's talk about the solar system. So when we talk about the solar system, it is made up of the sun and all other heavenly bodies. So solar system is made up of the sun and all other heavenly bodies that revolve around it. Okay, so the objects in the solar system include the 8 planets. And I told you that at first they were 9, but Pluto has been taken out. Now we are left with 8. So we have 8 planets. And these 8 planets moves or revolve around the sun. Yeah, so the solar system consists of, or it comprises of the 8 planets. It's also comprised of the moon, the stars, satellites. It's comprised of the asteroids, meteorites, and many more. The sun is at the center of the solar system. So the sun is at the center of the solar system. The movement of planets around the sun is called orbit. Okay, so when we talk about orbit is the movement of the planet around the sun. So the planets move around the sun, and we call this movement orbit. So the planet orbits the sun. What orbits the earth? Any object, any object that orbits a planet is called a satellite. So any object that orbits the planet is called a satellite. Yeah, so let's continue. Yeah, so objects, what objects are orbit around the earth? We've already talked about the object that revolve around the sun. We said that they are called planets. The earth is part of this planet, and there are some objects that revolve around the earth. We call this object that revolve around the earth or other planets satellites. We call them satellites. The moon is a satellite because the moon moves around the earth. So the moon is the natural satellite for the earth. Okay. Yeah, so stars are heavenly objects that makes their own light. So when we talk about stars, they are heavenly bodies that makes their own light. The sun is the nearest stars to the earth. The sun is the nearest star to the earth. Yeah, so you have to understand that the sun is the biggest object in the solar system. It is located at the center of the solar system. All the planets orbit around the sun. You have to understand this, that all the planets, they orbit around the sun. We also talked about gravitational force last time, that the sun's gravitational force help keeps the planet on their orbit. Okay, yeah. So we want to look at the names of the eight planets. The names of the eight planets. So, but before that, we know Earth to be one of them. And so when I ask you about the name of any planet, you have to mention Earth. Okay, and the other seven that I'll be mentioning. That's so the eight planets orbit around the sun in a cyclic movement. The eight planets in the solar system are in order of closest to the sun. So the first planet that is close to the sun is Mercury. Mercury is very closer to the sun. So Mercury is followed by Venus. Venus is also followed by Earth. Earth is followed by Mars. Mars is followed by Jupiter. Jupiter is followed by Saturn. Saturn is followed by Uranus. And Uranus is followed by Neptune. Yeah, so Mercury is the first and closest planet to the Sun. So you have to understand that the Mercury, yeah, we have Mercury as a metal. We are not talking about that, but we are talking about Mercury as a planet, and it is the first and closest planet to the Sun. The Earth is the third planet, which is closer to the Sun. Neptune is the eighth planet and farthest away from the Sun. So this means that place will be cold. Okay. Yeah. So let me end today's video here. But I want you to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, you can share this. Yeah, or leave a comment. If you have any question about this, you can drop your question at the comment section. Bye. We'll meet in our next video. Bye bye.